Idris Elba was the good guy in season one, but which side of Sam do we see here?
In the back of our minds, we're wondering how far can they possibly take this story?
Red and Red Real Reviews ride the rails in the long anticipated season two of Apple TV's Hijack.
I knew within the first 5 minutes I was gonna hate it, but then it was so bad. Ugh.
Nobody wants this. Like,
Literally
figure out,
nobody
hold on,
wants this.
internet's gonna get mad at me for this one. There's no fat elf, you know.
Duty, which I can't say without laughing. Duty, like I'm English.
John B and Sarah are, I mean, I don't want to sound like a loser for saying this, but they're adorable. I'll admit it. Welcome back, Red and Red Real Reviews. And I looked back on the course of this season, our season, because we always joke around how this is our season three is our season of season twos, and this would be our 19th episode of season three, and it will be the sixth season two we've covered. So it's a good chunk, but I feel like it's not as big a chunk as we thought or had been joking about.
Yeah, I think it's just because we had a few in a row. I think in 1 month we had maybe three of those, so
Yeah.
it just seemed like a lot at once, maybe. But yeah, I mean that's still it's funny because a lot of things or a few things that we covered in season one of our show are finally coming back now, and we're in season three of our show. So it
Right.
took a while for these things.
We had to wait a little while. In theory, season three should have been the season threes. And this one's a doozy because we've been waiting for it for a while. Idris Elba,
Mm.
his thriller on Apple TV to return. I kind of have a funny thought to this, but before we get into that, let us know what you think of the podcast as a whole. Possible shows we should have on our radar. Email us red and red real reviews at gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at red and red real reviews. That is the letter N and real spelled with two E's. So I don't know about you, but with Hijack, I kind of thought that I didn't know if a season two was going to come back. I would have gladly welcomed it because season one was so good, but season one also felt like a bit of a standalone topic. It didn't really feel like it was something it could continue unless you completely changed the cast for every season, kind of like a True Detective model.
Yeah, like an anthology series. And I think I don't remember. I'd have to go back to our episode on it, but I thought it was labeled at the time as a mini series or a limited series, and I believe it was a decent chunk of time that went by before they actually renewed it. So when they renewed it, we were kind of like, "Huh? Like
Yeah, why?
what? Like isn't this a limited series? Wait, what?" Like we were confused about it, I think.
Yeah, because the other thing is, you think like how it would continue. Okay, he was on an airplane and it gets taken over by terrorists. Okay, that's kind of bread and butter Hollywood type of thriller
Right.
drama. But it's like if you did it again, this poor guy's gonna be on another plane that gets hijacked. That's not realistic. Or it's
What
just
are the
the worst
chances?
luck in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. So I wasn't really sure how they would continue the story. And it did take them over 2 years to cook up a new story. So that made me a little bit um hesitant to be like, wait, is this going to be good or not? Like, are they just trying to beat a dead horse here? Is this going to be anything unique?
It's interesting that it sat in pre-planning for that amount of time because you figure, okay, even if what they did, went from airplane, they put it on a
Mm,
train for this time around. Even with that, it's like, okay, there's only so many different types of transportation that you could get this premise going with. The fact that it took that long is kind of odd that it would have taken that long because there's only so many different ways you can go,
right.
given the way that they went.
Yeah, and you mentioned at the end of our last episode that it was going to be a train, as you had found out. I hadn't watched any trailers, nothing. So all I had going into it was your knowledge that it was on a train, but before I knew that, I'm thinking, okay, what can they do here? A train, like a cruise ship? I don't know.
Yeah, and the only reason I knew that is because I was looking for the artwork for it, and I found the poster art, and it's got like those flashy colors behind him, and it's got a little
Yeah,
picture of a train car. So I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. All right, we'll see what this is about.
and we did.
Yeah, Binge and Ginge. Let's get right into the weeds. What's your one thing?
So my one thing to watch for, it's gonna sound a little bizarre, but my thing is the one reason to watch is Idris Elba as Sam Nelson is basically doing this show with little to no dialogue, and I'm here for it, strangely enough. So there was one episode that they gave us, which we'll talk a little bit later about how it was super stingy of them. But in a
Hmm.
43-minute episode, he basically hardly spoke. He probably spoke less than 5 lines. He just watched people like a hawk. And him watching people was suspenseful enough to keep me watching.
It kind of gives like an espionage feeling to the show, which is
Yeah,
funny
because
because he's like not really a spy, but he kind of acts like a spy.
he's just really in tune with what people are doing, and in a sense that a normal person like us wouldn't know how to people watch like that. It
Hmm.
is interesting. It's like, oh, why does he have his eye on this person, or why is he looking at this person and not this other person who seems suspicious to me, so I thought that was interesting, just watching him work basically.
Yeah, normal when normal people watch, when normal people watch, they're looking around and they're saying like, "Oh, those shoes do not work with you, girlfriend."
Are they saying things
Oh,
like
I don't
that?
know. Not from a guy's perspective, but I just imagine, women doing that. Guys are a little more verbose. We're verbose. We're like, "Oh, get on the treadmill, fatty."
Yeah, I don't know. It was just interesting the way that he was so quiet, but yet he was so like there was so much going on in his head, you could tell, where he was analyzing everybody's little tiny movements.
Yeah. And that actually sets up like this kind of tinderbox moment where you think like, okay, here's the antagonist, and it winds up just being a completely unidentifiable thing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
cops kind of get blamed for it, but it kind of alludes like he's on a hair trigger the entire time while he's on the train.
Yeah, and there's moments where he's really doing everything to follow different people, and he's kind of like getting on and off the train at stops. And I mean he's doing some he's behaving kind of strangely. I feel like if there were someone watching him, they'd be like, this, what is this guy doing?
Yeah. They, they make a joke at one point where they're like, where a couple young girls on the train, the only sense that maybe they see out of him like that is like, oh, he
Yeah,
just racially profiled, which is funny because Idris Elba, of course, is a black man. So it's like, oh,
right.
the black man racially profiled someone.
Yeah, I kind of laughed to myself, or like rolled my eyes. I was like, "Oh God, here we are here." Like, do you know who you're talking about, girlfriend?
Yeah, really. Um, so it's interesting to me that this was this was something that stood out to you because I don't know whether it's just because he kind of has a calmer, quieter demeanor. I didn't
Mm.
really notice that he had a significantly lower dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, he's his character is really just the strong silent type. So he has a couple lines of dialogue with this woman that's in the first episode, and she kind of tries to talk to him, and she's like pulling teeth to get him to talk, and she's asking him questions, and he's just kind of like responding back with like one word answers and like not giving her much to go off of. And he's just basically kind of giving off the vibes of, okay, I'm trying to follow someone, like I'm trying to do something, please leave me alone.
Oh, going down the escalator when they're like when he's first walks into the metro in that
Well,
kind of
even
time.
even when he's on the train and he's talking to that May is her name. He's talking to May and she's asking him all these questions. Oh, I saw the article about how you were involved in that hijacking, and she's just like talking his ear off and he's just like, yeah, he's
Leave me
he's
alone.
getting
Leave
a
me alone.
he's giving her like the Bass Reeves treatment. Rah, 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 rah. Like,
Huh.
just giving her one word answers. He's just being very short with her, like not in a mean way. He's just, like, I am married to a strong silent type, and my father is a strong silent type. So, I just, maybe that's why I noticed it, is just that personality or that character.
Yeah, and it it kind of works with how Sam's arc is being laid out because
Mm-hmm.
it feels pretty obvious that he's very dead set on something,
Mm-hmm.
which we'll get, like you said, we'll get to a little later on. But he's kind of got this very one track mind for
Right.
whatever he's trying to accomplish.
He zeroed in on something, but we just don't really know who or what that is.
Yeah. So into my one thing, and for me, there's a kind of a crazy cliffhanger in this. We spoke
Mm.
off air that I guess it's not really that big of a cliffhanger since Apple just decided to release it in their trailer.
I know.
Um,
Like, why would you ruin something like that?
yeah, and it also is it doubles down on the fact that Apple has deviated from their usual path where they put out two episodes at once. You know, an episode to kind of establish the show and another
Mm-hmm.
episode to bring you in the hook. Now, maybe because this is a season two, as opposed
Maybe.
to, we covered some limited series from them like Cemetery Road and The Last Frontier that
Yep.
were kind of isolated type of series and maybe experimental. So maybe Hijack, something that had a season one that maybe had
Mm.
a little bit of an underground following, something like that. Maybe they could blow off that establishment episode. So maybe the episode one here is the episode two that we're normally used to seeing from Apple. Um, but it puts the meeting that Olivia has with the DOJ under a microscope because with the way Sam's character arc turned at the end of this episode, it kind of puts whatever she's doing in a different perspective that, Sam is broken bad, maybe?
Yeah, I was kind of left a little bit confused at the end of the first episode, kind of not really sure where it was going or what that meant exactly. But yeah, I mean, to your point, I never really thought of that because this is a season two, they probably felt the need that they didn't have to do that two episode like introduction to really get into it. But that one episode went by so fast. It was barely 45 minutes. It wasn't like it was like 57 minutes long where you kind of get this, give the story enough time to develop. It was kind of in and out and over really quick. And by the time stuff escalated and started happening, it was over.
Yeah. And like the platforms will promote the next episode or what have you, and
Mm-hmm.
this one starts to play F1 or Tehran or whatever Apple's promoting right now. I'm like, wait a minute, should there be another episode? What's going on?
Yeah, it kind of left you abruptly and leaving you wanting more, where you're like, wait, that's it.
Yeah. And for I mean, I guess at this point we could probably say it this far into the pod since Apple kind of let it go out into the open. Sam says, "I'm gonna hijack this train," which is kind of a that's kind of a mic drop moment. And again, it's not really a mic drop because Apple promoted it as such, but
Mm.
it kind of breaks the mold of Sam as the good guy.
Yeah, and I wonder if they don't really say how long it's been since the first season. Like, we don't know what timeline we're on, right? So
Yeah.
I guess we don't know what led him to that, or again, I don't know what exactly that means. Does he mean that in a benevolent way, or does he not? You know what I'm saying?
Right, and Sam had some family drama in season one, if memory serves correctly. So, is that kind of resolved, and now this is a completely separate story arc, or is he still kind of in this chaotic personal drama, and somehow whatever he has to do is tied back to resolving his interpersonal situations?
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't really remember a lot from the first season because it's been 2.5 years. I was
Yeah,
there something with like he was estranged from his wife or he was getting divorced and then he had a daughter, right?
son.
He had a son. Okay.
He was estranged. He was estranged from his wife, and his
Mm.
wife had a coupley relationship with either one of her coworkers or one of his coworkers or
Oh,
something like
okay.
that. And then his son wound up getting kidnapped from people who were associated to the hijacking of the plane. Uh so it was kind of something like that, and there was a little bit of a um I don't want to say recovery, but like putting the pieces back together from the estranged relationship towards the end, or maybe like an understanding, like, okay, we're not
Right.
together, but
Like
we
a
still have the common
co-parenting
bond. Yeah. So
kind
there
of
was a little
thing.
bit of a patchwork there at the end,
Mm.
but it didn't feel like they were going to be back together. It just kind of felt like, okay, we survived this, you know.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to bring that up at all this season. Because, like, I'm even thinking of it now. I'm like, was his son 10 years old? Was he 16? I really have no recollection of any of the events of season one, to be honest.
Yeah. And I also cannot recall because, like you said, it's been so long. I also cannot recall what Olivia's connection from season one was.
I really can't either. I mean, I was just, she was named Olivia, and I was like, wait, who is this Olivia person? Like,
Yeah. Because I don't. She was not the ATC. Because I know that was no, that was a white girl in the air traffic control tower. So I know it wasn't her. So she had some agency connection or something like that. Because there was also a lot of agency negotiating going on
mm,
in season one too. Because it was kind of like
mm.
a 3 point thing to the plane, to his family, and then to the intelligence agency trying to figure it all out.
Right. And like, so they just kind of hit the ground running. They didn't really give much background into like, this is where we're picking up the story. This is how long it's been. This is what's
Yeah,
going on in his life right now. It was just like, he's on the train. He's in Germany, I think it is. And
I think it's
um,
Germany. It feels like
there's
Germany.
yeah, there is just to warn people who don't like reading subtitles, there is a decent amount of German subtitles in this episode.
Yeah,
So, I mean, take with that what you will, but yeah, so it just kind of threw us into it and there wasn't a lot of explanation. So I hope that's the intention is that they're just wanting to throw you into it to get you hooked and that the next episodes that follow will be more about like explaining what's happening now, like give some backstory or like some flashbacks or something to where he is now in his frame of mind.
and on the topic of that, as we pass kind of the final verdict on this, it does kind of feel, because we're kind of putting the pieces together of how this connects to
Mm,
season one. To me, it does kind of feel like a fresh story. So,
yeah,
what do you think? Should people be in on season two since they had to wait so long for it?
I yes, I'm personally in for it. I'm wanting to see where it goes and how I feel about it is I have seen reviews of the first season where people were criticizing it for not being totally realistic and full of plot holes, but like personally, I don't care about that. For me, it's entertaining and um I'm just a little bit I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt, but it just kind of makes me wonder going forward, these showrunners for all these different shows that we watch, we just came off of Stranger Things, which had a 5 season run across like 10 years. usually showrunners have it in their mind of a certain number of seasons that they're going to have to tell the story of what they want to tell. So, like, I'm just curious, how long is this show going to run for? Like, are they going to do a cruise ship next? What do they have left? Like, where are they going to take this story? Like, would they have if they're renewed for a third season, would they have a third season and then call it a day after that? Do they see it running for 5 seasons? I can't imagine. So I it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of possibilities here. So I am wanting to see where it goes, and I'll give it the benefit of the doubt for that.
They could do a Keanu Reeves Speed remake season with the
Oh
bus.
geez. Oh yeah,
Classic,
bus. I did.
classic 90s.
You know what? We're thinking about transportation here, and I did not even consider a bus of a form of, like, did not even think of that.
Yeah,
There's another
blame
season right
millennial
there.
for that. Blame millennial culture for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in it too. I'm surprised that there was criticism from season one having plot holes. Maybe it was just I didn't notice because it was
Mm,
such an adrenaline rush.
yeah.
But to me, I never caught that as a potential criticism
Mm.
from a believability factor or loophole or plot holes, whatever the case may be. Uh, it it was a long wait. I mean, there's a bit of a twist, and to change it, I think it makes it more believable to change the form of transportation. Because if you just did another plane again, it would be like, okay, this is not this. This is just trying to, milk the cow more, money grab, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yep.
Um, I don't expect much less from of excitement and greatness from Idris Elba.
Mm.
I think we had the joke. I thought that it was a quote of yours that like, what has he ever done that's bad? The first time around we did that. So uh it just sucks not to get a lot of meat on the bone from what we're used to this particular platform doing. No pun intended from it being a train reference.
Platform. Yeah, I see what you did there. Yeah, well, I think we did that conversation where we said what bad has Idris Elba done, but I'm pretty sure he was in Cats, and we did have this conversation. I feel like deja vu coming
Oh
up, but
yes. Yeah.
um but yeah, to your point, they gave us one episode. It was super stingy, and it could be because it's the second season, but like, it's been a while, guys. Give us a freaking bone here.
Especially since and you noticed this when we reviewed the first season that and maybe it was because like you had to watch it in one kind of successive runs and I
Mm.
where I was kind of like watching it as it came out, but you
Mm.
noticed that it was kind of set in real time. The flight was 7 hours and it was 7 episodes.
Oh,
So
right, right.
maybe this is also kind of the method behind the madness, so to speak, as far as making the episodes set up in a realistic timeline of how this train hijacking is going to go, with a certain amount of hours in real time feel to the ordeal.
I did not think of that, and I did not remember that from the first season. So, I mean, that's a good point. Did they document yet how many episodes are going to be in this season? Is it also 7?
Probably, I think maybe it's 8. Maybe they
Yeah,
jumped it up.
I mean, anytime you have like a traumatic situation like that, or like a negotiation, or like a hostage situation, or a hijacking, like, those things can take hours and hours and hours. So it could be, they might try to do it might be a staple of the show for them to do an hour of time as an episode at a time.
Yeah, and I mean it also due to the fact that it's 8 episodes, it could be the fact that maybe they want to add to the hustle bustle of the train, and 8 hours is an 8 hour day. A train is a commuting people things used for a commute. So maybe that kind of adds to the tension of, bystanders and I don't want to say
Mm.
collateral damage. Hopefully no random characters die, but it could be in this type of hostile situation.
Yeah, we're kind of introduced to all the people who are on the train. You know, you have a group of kids. There's a bunch of different people that they sort of give you a little glimpse into who they are. So I'm assuming we're going to get to know those people a lot better these next few episodes.
Yeah, which I kind of like that. Well, if you think you've gotten to know us and enjoy listening to this podcast, we'd very much appreciate a 5-star review on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and hit the follow or subscribe button to stay in the loop for when our episodes drop, because we are at the mercy of when platforms release shows, ultimately. So next up, we're going back to therapy. Just how long really could Jason Segel and Harrison Ford string this one out? I mean, we're certainly glad that there's going to be another shrinking season, but I'm a little bit surprised, even if it's pleasantly so, that we're going to get another season.
I could see it going on another season or so and then wrapping up. But I still think it's good based on last season. You know, we'll see if it continues being good. We're looking for consistency here this time, but I'm excited for the ugly crying and I'm excited for the laughs in the comedy. So it's an emotional roller coaster. It usually puts me on, but I'm here for it.
Hopefully, we don't put you on the same emotional roller coaster when that next real review drops. Red and Red signing out.